Chapter 2. Champion. After the incident, we resumed our journey and soon found ourselves at Turai at last. Living up to its name as the country of water, the capital was flanked on one side by the ocean, with there being innumerable wooden boats moored in its harbor. If I had to venture a guess, the reason the architectural style in this city had a slight Japanese vibe was likely that its founder had been a transmigrator. Seeing the kimono-like clothing worn by passers-by on the streets gave me a twinge of nostalgia. What if the founder's real name happened to be Taraji? Whoa, water as far as my eyes can see. So this is an ocean. It's so pretty. Sarah and Ephil, who were seeing an ocean for the first time in their lives, were extremely thrilled. It was also my first time seeing an ocean so blue and clean. Back on Earth, a location of this quality would have definitely made it onto TV shows and magazines covering famous tourist spots. Sarah was in total vacation mode now, having changed from her usual military uniform into casual clothing. Boss and madams, is this your first time visiting Turai? I was also mighty surprised when I first came here. This place is simply gorgeous. If our wagon had not been loaded up, the two girls would probably have headed straight off for a dip in the sea. However, we couldn't very well do that as we had to hand over the two members of Black Wind to the local Adventurers Guild first. Thanks to Sarah's hypnotism, we had managed to extract all of the information we could from the male bandit, then from the leader as well. At the moment, both of them were fast asleep in the back of the wagon. The information that we had obtained was as follows. First, Black Wind had indeed been revived. Or to be exact, they had merely pretended to be wiped out in the first place. The Rank A adventurer party that had supposedly destroyed them had actually taken over the gang. Since the previous head of Black Wind really had been killed, and his head had been brought back to the guild as proof, the group was officially declared to be disbanded. Aside from those who had died during the confrontation itself, however, the majority of Black Wind had in fact survived. Now a Rank A adventurer was controlling the gang from the shadows, and it was also he who had ordered the attack on us. He had kept his identity a secret from all but the highest echelons of Black Wind, and was known to be constantly moving around. Even so, how many Rank A adventurers can there be? Guess we can leave this part to the guild. Honestly, though, I can't imagine it taking all that long. Secondly, we learned that Black Wind's main activities at present were kidnapping and human trafficking. Obviously, Ephil and Sarah had been targeted for that reason. There were several squads, each led by an officer like Karna, that were based in different areas all doing the same thing. Furthermore, they had managed to prevent news of their existence from reaching nearby city authorities and Adventurers Guild branches thanks to two facts. 1. The average level of their members was so high that they could easily overwhelm the run-of-the-mill adventurers who were usually hired as guards for journeys between cities. And 2, they were extremely thorough in cleaning up the locations of their attacks and obfuscating any remaining traces. They kidnapped adventurers and civilians alike, selling them all into slavery. And all of this had been ordered by the Rank A adventurer who had become their new chief. Hey, let's hand these guys over quickly. I want to see the ocean up close. I also want to try that fishing thing you mentioned before, urged Sarah, who seemed to be nearing the end of her patience. Although Ephil wasn't saying anything, she was fidgeting a lot too, which was extremely unusual for her. Chances were that she was feeling exactly the same as Sarah. All right. Let's head straight to the guild, then. Allow me to lead the way, boss. It's this street here. Following close behind our faithful driver, the three of us headed for the Turai branch of the Adventurers Guild. The Black Wind? Are you sure about that? It's true, I can back up his story. When my wagon was attacked, these here adventurers were the ones who saved me. At one of the counters of the Turai branch of the Adventurers Guild, I had turned over the 2 Black Wind members in our custody and reported on everything that had happened. Thanks to our driver also coming along and confirming my story, things proceeded without issue. So you are an adventurer from Parth? Pardon me, but may I have a look at your guild card, please? I obediently handed over my gold-colored card. Guild cards were colored based on the adventurer's rank. Rank F was blue, rank E was red, then subsequent ranks were green, bronze, silver, and gold. Therefore, as a rank A adventurer, my card was now gold. Wait, you're rank A? I apologize for my disrespect. Boss, I knew you were strong, but to think you were rank A this whole time. That's right. So treat him accordingly. Sarah, why are you the one looking so proud? Oh, don't worry about it. More importantly, I passed on the information about Black Wind that we had acquired from our interrogation. The Adventurers Guild had branches all over the continent, so our report would reach them all in no time. Hopefully, this will help reduce the number of kidnapping victims. Would you happen to have knowledge of the adventurer who supposedly subjugated the old Black Wind? They are likely the main culprit behind the gang's revival, added Ephil. I'm very sorry. This is a matter above my own authority, so I will need to call my superior. In the meantime, please have a rest in the reception room. Hollow Diamond, Hollow Diamond, Hollow Diamond. The receptionist guided us to a separate room, where we waited for several minutes. Kerchak. The woman who had opened the door was a charming-looking older lady. I got up from my chair and Sarah scrambled to her feet as well. Ephil did not need to move, as she had been standing behind me the whole time. It's my pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am the guild master of the Tarai branch of the Adventurers Guild. My name is Mist. The pleasure is all mine. I'm Kelvin, an adventurer. We exchanged a handshake, then settled into seats facing each other across the table. I've heard about you from Rio. In fact, you're pretty much all he talks about these days. It's quite rare for him to be this excited about someone, you know. So Rio and Mist-san keep in contact with each other? Guildmaster Rio has helped me out a lot. But, well, I'm rather surprised to hear this account of his opinion of me. He's never shown any sign of it during my interactions with him. He's got an obstinate streak, that one. He won't tell you directly, but I think he values you rather highly. It would be quite an honor if that's the case. But really, Rio highly evaluates me? I have so many memories of him twisting my arm to do things that I'm not sure how I feel about the idea. Let me guess, he keeps pressing you to do jobs, right? Don't worry, it's not just you. He's always been that way. May I ask how long the two of you have been acquainted? It's been more than 20 years now, but he and I were once in the same party. That guy, he even earned the nickname, Analyzer, because of how often he went around using Analyze Eye on people without their permission. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm a victim as well. After continuing to make small talk for a while longer, we finally got down to business. So, about Black Wind. Indeed, our receptionist already passed on the information that you provided. We've considered the following 3 factors. The rank of the person who brought in the information, the apprehension of the actual perpetrators, and the eyewitness testimony of Rudo-san over there. In case you are not aware, Rudo-san is highly reputable in the transportation industry, and we have also been in his care many times. In light of all this, we have deemed your information highly credible and have already passed it along to the other branches of the Adventurers Guild. Oh wow, so our driver, Rudo-san, is actually well known? I turned to look at him, just in time to catch him scratching his cheek embarrassedly, muttering, it's nothing much. Mist-san sure works fast. Now, about the party that took on the subjugation of Black Wind. Mist-san paused briefly before continuing. At the moment, they still reside here, in the capital of Turai. Hollow Diamond. If they're in Turai, then we can immediately g. Before Eiffel finished her sentence, Mist San shook her head. There are extenuating circumstances. Unfortunately, things are not that simple. What do you mean? Mist San stood up abruptly, then walked over to retrieve a book from one of the shelves that lined the room. After flipping through the pages a bit, she left it on the table, open to a certain page. Roughly 1 year ago, after Black Wind was subjugated, a certain news publication printed this article. I picked up the book and the three of us gathered around it together. The page had what looked like a newspaper clipping glued to it. Ah, a scrapbook. Please take your time and read through the article. Thank you. We'll have a look. Filled Diamond. Rank adventurer Kristoff and party annihilate the bandit gang Black Wind, Filled Diamond. Today, our glorious king, Zell Sama, he who rules over our illustrious kingdom of Tryson, has truly delightful news to announce to all. The notorious bandit gang, Black Wind, whose name has caused the world to tremble in fear of late, has been struck down by the Tryson-born rank adventurer Kristoff Shi and his party. Although Black Wind is internationally wanted for countless charges of murder and kidnapping, no one had successfully determined the location of their headquarters before. In addition, the combat prowess of each and every one of the gang's members was so high that even knightly orders could not carelessly engage. The bandits' infamy was such that they had even earned the nickname the Formless Bandit Gang. Surely the tragic recent attack on one of our own villages is still fresh in the minds of our people. It was Kristoff Shi who, spurred to action by this terrible incident, stood up and took matters into his own hands. Through independent investigation, he managed to discover Black Wind's hideout and even brought back the head of their abominable leader. In honor of this highly heroic feat, Zell Sama has decided to bestow a Tryson Medal of Honor upon Kristoff Shi. With this, Kristoff Shi has officially become a champion of Tryson. Keep your eyes peeled for the future successes of our great new champion. Filled Diamond, Filled Diamond. I see. The adventurer that you are looking for is most likely Kristoff. As the article states, he is now being held up as a champion of Tryson. If we mishandle this matter, we could end up causing an international dispute between Turai and Tryson. So in other words, even the Adventurers Guild can't easily touch him. What a troublesome country Tryson is. For me, I mean. But we have all this evidence. Just because some stupid country's calling him a champion or whatever, we have to just give up? Sarah cried. Sarah, calm down. What Mist San is saying is that we need to prepare properly. Although I turned around to pacify Sarah, whose anger had suddenly flared up, I had to admit that making preparations would require time. And considering how diplomatically sensitive this matter could become, the amount of time needed would be quite substantial indeed. If only we had something that could prove our legitimacy without any shadow of doubt. Just now, did. Master, what's the matter? Oh, no, it's nothing. Getting back on track. There's no way this is nothing, though. What did I just pick up? I switched to the follower network, through which we could exchange thoughts instantaneously. Sarah. Are we having a secret conversation? Did any of your sensing or detection skills pick up on 4 large presences just now? Yep, I feel them at the city gates. Their levels are all within the 50s, I think? As expected. I guess coincidences really do happen, I thought to myself. And, if so, then I'm really in luck. Do those 4 have something to do with us? I'm still evaluating the situation, but for now. I pulled up several status screens that were still in the network. In all likelihood, they are this era's heroes. Exclamation mark col. Exclamation mark col. Exclamation mark col. Previously, Melfina had visited Daramis and received a recording orb, a rank A item capable of storing any and all kinds of information from the oracle while granting her a prophecy. Although this particular orb had been returned to the oracle, Melfina had uploaded the information to our network and left it there. To my surprise, this had enabled me to track those 4 individuals by attaching markers to them through my presence sensing skill. Yep, I can feel them more strongly now. Seems they've just entered the city. I could not sense any knights nearby, which meant they had come to Turai on their own. So these are the heroes that my princess mentioned. Heroes. Although these 4 were entirely unrelated to the matter, Sarah's father had been killed by a hero. Her conflicted emotions leaked through the network to the rest of us. Sarah, I'm sure you already know this, but these heroes are completely different people. I understand it, in my head. Good to hear it. After all, I'm thinking of having these heroes help out a bit with this issue of ours. Clearly, she still needed time to sort out the feelings in her heart. I would have to keep an eye on her and give her guidance where needed. The heroes are certainly far more popular and trusted than Kristoff is. We have evidence against Kristoff, so if we can secure the guilds and Daramis's backing, even Tryson would not be able to protest. My king, you intend to pit the heroes against Blackwind? Why would I do that? I wouldn't get to do any fighting myself that way. Don't all of you go silent on me at the same time. Of course, my love of battle wasn't the only reason. The heroes' current capabilities were only in the middle to high percentile of rank A at best. There was no guarantee that they could actually win against Blackwind or Kristoff and his party. I don't even want to imagine what Melfina will say if we let them die here. Right, well, let's get back on track. This is what we're going to do. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Mist San, I have a proposal. Oh? What sort of proposal? After our internal strategy meeting was over, it was time to start making preparations. For this plan, Mist San's cooperation was absolutely necessary. If we succeeded, Turai would be in our debt. And if Turai was in our debt, it would make the possibility of getting our hands on rice that much greater. I will secure my rice without fail. Master, leave the cooking to me. I will reproduce your recipes without fail. The elusive food from my king's home place. I will materialize myself to enjoy its taste without fail. Are you guys aware that you sometimes randomly insert rather idiotic comments out of the blue? United under a common purpose, all of us set off to complete our own parts of the plan. Hollow Diamond. Under the leadership of Kanzaki Tuya, the heroes had set out from the Holy Empire of Daramis and, after a long journey, finally reached Turai, the country of water. To understand why, one must travel back to the moment after Melfina, the goddess of reincarnation, granted a prophecy to Colette, the oracle of Daramis. When Tuya and Setsuna reached the doors of the great cathedral, they bumped into Mizuoka Nana and Kuromiya Miyabi. Kanzaki-kun. What's happened? Cried Nana in a slightly flustered state. This previous classmate of Tuya's was short, baby-faced, and had a very prominent bosom, which was an amalgam of traits that had proven extremely popular among a portion of the boys in their high school back home. She herself had a complex about this appearance that had often caused her to be mistaken for an elementary or middle schooler. But the combination of her appearance and gentle personality gave her a pleasant aura that many people found quite comforting and healing. We saw light coming from the great cathedral. Fireworks? In sharp contrast to Nana, Miyabi always seemed cool and composed. She was a returnee who had transferred into Tuya's class the day before they were all summoned. Due to how fast her almost genius-level mind ran, she often did and said things that seemed cryptic and incomprehensible to others. A quarter Russian, she had beautiful silver hair, and her looks were such that a fan club was rumored to have been established for her the very day she transferred in. These two had been summoned, together with Tuya and Setsuna, from modern Japan into another world, called to become heroes. Good timing, you two. Honestly, I haven't the faintest idea, either. What I do know is that Colette is inside. What? Then we should check on her. Yep, that's what we'll be doing. When I open the door, all of us will rush in together. Ready? Set. Bang. Colette, are you all right? In the direction Tuya had yelled stood a silver-haired girl before an altar. Nothing appeared broken, and there were no signs of any struggle having taken place. The inside of the great cathedral was enveloped in complete silence, almost as if the intense light from a short while ago had been a mere lie. As the four heroes looked around warily, Colette turned towards them and proclaimed in a sonorous voice, "We have been granted a prophecy." Setsuna was the first to respond. "By prophecy, you mean Goddess Melfina was here? What did she say?" This would be the first time that the goddess had made contact after their original transmigration. A faint hope that they might one day return home sparked within Setsuna's chest, causing her to stare intently at Colette, awaiting her next words with bated breath. After what seemed like forever, Colette finally answered. 1 year it has been since Melfina-sama lent her aid in ensuring the successful summoning of the heroes who would be our saviors. I had thought that I would never again have the blessed honor of receiving a prophecy, but now another prophecy has been given to us. Ah, Melfina-sama's appearance is so holy, so divine, so beautiful, so precious. Her smile of joy upon beholding the hero's growth was worth more than 1,000, nay, 1,000,000 pieces of gold. For her to visit this humble servant not only once but twice. Oh, Melfina-sama's love and benevolence is so deep that I feel I might drown in it. Quote. Colette was feeling such pleasure and delight that it looked like she was high on something. It was extremely rare to see the second highest authority of a country the size of Deramus in such an uncomposed state. If such a display were ever shown to the public, it would tarnish her reputation. Kanzaki-kun, Colette-san appears quite tired right now. We'll help her to her room, so could you go back ahead of us? Oh okay, sure. Want me to help carry her on my back? Bzzt. Not an excuse for you to touch her. Tuya's a lucky lecher. What? Miyabi, are you still holding a grudge against me for the other day? I told you, I didn't do it on purpose. Miyabi-chan? Did something happen between you and Kanzaki-kun? All right, that's enough of the Manzai comedy act. Rubbing her temples to alleviate the headache she was getting, Setsuna did her best to bring things back under control. As a childhood friend of Tuya the walking disaster, she had grown up facing such troublesome scenes more times than she could count. It was only natural that she would be constantly relegated to the role of mediator. If left alone, the other three would probably continue their banter ad infinitum, so it wasn't as if she really had a choice. Rare was the day that Setsuna did not end up with a headache. The knights should be arriving soon, after hearing all that ruckus. Tuya, you go deal with them. Nana and Miyabi, you two help me carry Colette. Come on, guys, get to it. Understood. Okay. Seer. Tuya dashed out of the great cathedral first. Setsuna and the others departed soon after, carrying Colette. Oh, so beautiful. You are far too beautiful, Melfina-sama. That night, an official order went out barring anyone from entering Colette's quarters. Hollow diamond. Knock knock. Come in. Pardon my intrusion, Oracle. Putting down her pen, Colette looked up at the door. It was Cliff, the Knight Captain of the Holy Empire of Deramus's acclaimed Holy Order of Knights. He was the most powerful warrior in all of Deramus and had therefore been entrusted with the training of the heroes. Even after a year, his charges still could not beat him, even when fighting against him together in a 4 versus 1 matchup. The four heroes themselves stepped into the room just behind him. Knight Captain Cliff of the Holy Order of Knights, here at your service. Be at ease. The reason I have called you and the heroes here today is because I have an announcement to make. Melfina-sama has granted us another prophecy. The same words as yesterday, yet delivered in a completely different tone. This did not change the impact of the announcement, but Colette's delirious state last night had been so impactful that Tuya and the rest seemed at a loss as to how to respond. They exchanged looks, as if asking one another whether they should act surprised or not. Miyabi was quivering furiously, a tiny step away from bursting into outright laughter. Cliff, who did not know what had happened the day before, was the only one to look genuinely surprised. Is that true? Oh, Oracle, what wonderful news. I shall inform the Pope immediately. Wait a minute. Fath, I mean the Pope has already been informed. I beg your pardon for my forwardness. So, Colette, what did Goddess Melfina say? Trying her best not to think of the previous night, Setsuna pressed Colette for the details of the prophecy. I feel an evil presence from the Rizian Empire. Send the heroes there. Ensure that they do not mistakenly go in the direction of Parth. My goddess, exclaimed Cliff in even greater surprise. Knight Captain Cliff, the Rizian Empire is indeed the country on the western continent that we have had an armistice with for many years. Although Daramus and Rizia had signed the armistice, the wartime tensions between the two countries had yet to dissipate. The wedge that had been driven between them was not so easily overcome. If I remember correctly, we can cross over Crux Bridge to get there, right? It's not impossible, but the security there is extremely heavy and there are numerous checkpoints. Rizia is as much of a military country as Tryson is. If they find out that you are Daramus's heroes, there's no telling what they'd do to you. Nowadays, the only people who use that bridge are pre-approved traveling merchants whose backgrounds have been thoroughly checked. But according to Goddess Melfina's prophecy, chances are high that the Demon Lord is in that empire, right? Are we really going to go there? Nana's question caused everyone to fall silent. They might have spent the past year training and gaining experience, but at their cores, these four were simply high school students from a peaceful world. They could tell themselves again and again that they were ready to face the Demon Lord, but there was no telling if their resolve would hold when standing on an actual battlefield. Oracle, I believe this to be too early for them. Tuya and the rest are not yet ready to face the Demon Lord, either in mind or body. In addition, we of the Holy Order of Knights will not be able to accompany them once they step beyond Daramus's borders. I understand your concern. However, this is a prophecy from Melfina-sama. Surely there is a deeper purpose to her words. Colette closed her eyes, thinking quietly. Silence enveloped the room, with the occasional gust of wind blowing in from the open windows. After a while, she opened her eyes again and said, "Let's arrange for a ship to set off from Turai."